Hi guys, Jason and Nicole on the Udderfarm. We've got some great news this morning. Apart from the fact we've had over 200 mil of rain fall within the last couple of weeks. This is going to be the wettest November on record, they're saying. So we're still got another week's worth of rain, so possibly another 100 odd mil. So it's going to be, I reckon, totaling for the November, it's going to be well and truly in excess of 300 mil. So the ground is actually beyond saturation. Everything is runoff, so we're expecting flooding in the next week or so. So we'll just keep an eye on the rivers because it's all over southeast Queensland. The rivers are rising. But the good news is we've had one calf yesterday born on the trial property, which is a first calf heifer. She had a little bully calf, and Min, one of our first ever cows we purchased, has just had a calf within the last hour. So what we're doing, I'm heading down there now to give you guys a look at a calf an hour old. So I'll head down and we'll get some footage. Right guys, we'll head down here. This is a little bully calf that was born yesterday. Its mum's off getting feed, so I won't get too close. Hello little fella. There he is there. G'day little fella. Working in close to that. Minda's just walked. Whoop, Mum's coming back now, I can hear her mooing. And Min's taken off with her little calf, so I'm about to head in the paddock over there and I'll see if I can get a bit closer. Tried something different this year guys. What we realised with this cell grazing, we don't want to separate mum and calves, and we don't want to go to a point where we're weaning calves off, because we want to keep them all on one property. Use the herd to trample the grass down, add carbon. The moment you separate the cow and calf, you're really using two paddocks and two separate areas where they're grazing. So, right guys, so there he is, a little bully calf. You can still see the umbilical cord there. Mum's just having a feed, calf's doing well. Third time calf, so that is her second calf had over there. So they've got a close relationship. We didn't wean him off, Mum weaned him off herself. So probably about 3 or 4 months ago we noticed Mum kicking him when he was trying to get a feed. So Mum weaned off, and just there, that's her first calf she ever had, her first time heifer. So she's ready to go over the bull now. So like I said, that's the second calf. He's self-weaned. I know he hangs around Mum a fair bit, so it's going to be interesting now that the little fella's on board and been born today, what's going to happen with the second calf. I know he's not weaning, which is good. Mum's already weaned him off, so that's what happens to the relationship. So let's try to get a close up of the little fella. There he is. See how quick he is in the camera. Let Mum finish feeding him. Give him a feed. We'll come back later. Alright guys, it's been a week now. Min's calf is 7 days old. So we introduced him to the cell grazing system yesterday. So the only thing we were afraid of last night was if he'd gone up to one of the hot wires and touched it and it spooked him, he might take off and settle down in some grass somewhere and lay down for the night without his mum. And Mum wouldn't know where he would have been because obviously she's still in the cell herself. But no, we checked on a few times last night and they stayed in the system, and they have all day today. So I'll spin around and I'll show you, and then I'll go on to what they've done today. So like I said, we've had that 200 mil of rain, and we've had it probably a metre high, the grasses and the pasture has been, so they've really got a lot laid down for us today. So I'll give you a look. So as you can see guys, there's definitely not an issue. I was worried about jealousy with the young calf that's lying down there. He's just 9 months old, and the newborn, which is now 7 days old. There he is there, the little fella. There's definitely no jealousy there guys. I was worried about, you know, him getting pushed around. Because like I said, I was a bit worried because this is the first calf we've had that we haven't weaned off. So Mum has weaned him off herself, so I'm a little bit worried that he may get jealous or he may start suckling again, but they're definitely seeing no signs of suckling. So it's definitely a bonus guys. It definitely helps out when Mum's can wean itself. So there's a lot less work, and it's a lot cheaper too because you're not buying fodder if you're going to move them away and put them in a separate paddock. But I won't go into the paddock guys. I want to do a weaning video totally separate. But have a look what they've eaten, guys. This was, I'll show you we're going into tonight as in comparison to what this looked like. So this is where they're going into tonight, down here. So this has had that 200 mil, 300 mil of rain. As you can see, this grass is well and truly up to my waist height. So it's got a good height. As you can see, this has already come to seed as well. We don't really like our plants coming to seed because once they do come to seed, if you don't rush the cows through the paddock fast enough, the plant will drop its seed and it will start dying off and the goodness will drain out of it. So we generally don't like it coming to seed, but because we had that 300 mil of rain, I had no choice because it was way too boggy in here. I'd sooner have the plant going to seed and have to rush the cows through than having them come in and pug the dirt down and pug the mud and make mud holes everywhere, and then I've got that bare soil to deal with. So we'll go in next door here and I'll show you what they did for us today. We've given them, they're in here at 8 o'clock this morning, so it's 5 o'clock. So we generally like to give them 10 to 12 hours. And this was exactly the same as that pasture I showed you. Have a look at this, guys. This is awesome. Look at the amount. That is, I know that's easily, you know, a couple of feet high. 1.5 feet, 2 foot. And that is laid down, which means they've walked here all day on this grass. They've been lying on it, walking on it, eating it, chewing it. So that now has broken that sap cycle. So we know all this stuff here, generally 90% of it, 90% will die, and 20% will still come back. What's left seeded will drop the seeds, and that's feeding your microbes, guys, and building the topsoil. So I'm excited, guys, with the poop that's on the ground. The microbes will then come up, the dung beetles will use that poop now to fertilise the ground. It's going to stay a lot cooler when the hot weather comes out. We're expected, you know, 32 degrees this week. That ground, all that water's going to stay there because we've got all that armour on the ground. And there's a lot of dead matter from previously. If you have a look here, we've been through here twice now, all that dead matter. That is just going to, so that is really keeping that ground cool for those microbes. So they'll actually come through, successfully come up to the surface now and feed on that dead matter, pull it down to the ground to add those nutrients that requires to grow this grass back. Not only that, you're building the topsoil as well because it'll rot down and give you more topsoil, that brown stuff. So over time, when it does rain, you're going to hold more moisture in than running off down in the gully here. When we're continuously grazing, the water was running through the gully, and you know, you put a shovel in and probably wouldn't even be an inch of water penetrating that soil because there was nothing there. It was hard, continuously grazed. Now, yeah, like I said, I've been doing just over 12 months now, and my pastures are recovering within 35 to 40 days because I've got that armour, I've built that armour, and I'm holding the moisture in, and now the soil life, the biology has come alive. We'll go down here, guys. The only issue we have got is when they are continuously grazing, they used to eat absolutely everything. Now there's areas down here that they haven't eaten that they generally would. When I first started out, this is the lesson to learn. When we first started out, we were leaving them in the cell too long, thinking they need to eat more, they need to eat more, they've eaten this, they've left that. But then what they're doing now, guys, they're being more selective in what they're eating because they know they're getting moved twice a day. So they're eating the higher energy plants, the sweeter plants, and leaving the grasses that aren't a pastoral grass, they're leaving that behind. When we were leaving them in longer, we found they were eating all the pastoral grasses down to the ground, overgrazing, but still leaving those grasses which they used to eat when they were continuously grazing, because they know that the sweeter plant, and they get used to moving every second day, or sorry, twice a day. So they're leaving it now. So we used to, like I said, keep them longer. And we were doing ourselves an injustice, and they were overgrazing the ground right down to the dirt. So now we're used to that. We're just happy to move them out. The longer the grass is left, the more moisture and the less sun can penetrate through the grass and actually dry it out. So I'll go show you the area I was talking about. So this is areas that we were leaving before, guys. It's still got the tips on, but it's just grass. It doesn't come to seed. It's not a pastoral grass. It's just a native grass. There is a bit of Rhodes grass amongst it's the seed, but
They have tipped a little bit, but we were leaving them in here thinking, oh, you know, this is really low. They won't touch this anymore. They'll come back and eat this, but they weren't. They were eating this down to the ground even more and not touching that. So it took us 12 months to get over that. We're happy to move through. This is going to be here. If it dies off and falls to the ground, it's still adding carbon to the ground. It's still going to build us topsoil what we're after. So right guys, I think that's probably all I had to talk about. Hi guys, this is an addition to this video. When we shot it a few days ago, we introduced the 7-day-year-old calf to the cell grazing system, and this is 2 days later now. What had happened is we noticed, it's over there feeding on mum now. When we come down, we noticed that he had gotten out. We searched for her in the neighbouring paddock and she wasn't there. She was in the long grass only 20 metres away. So what we've done guys to eliminate that, we used to have our poly braid on this second one down. So what we've done, we've lifted it right up higher to this top one. It gives me an extra 4 inches for the calf to get under. As it was, when the calf went back in, it touched this braided line, the poly braid. Had that been on, we don't know whether he would have startled, gone back and not gone under. Well, hopefully that's not the case. It's all a learning curve for us. So we lifted it up and he slotted straight underneath that, clearing it by 3 inches. So if you're introducing new calves, guys, to a cell grazing system, your bigger cows won't get out. Lift it to the top of your O'Brien step-ins. It gives them more of a chance if they need to come out anytime during the day to get shade, because at the moment we've got no shade in this area. We found her under a tree, so in the long grass. He's gone back under, he cleared it, so make sure it's up on the higher level if you've got new calves. That way you limit the amount of shock. If they do touch that poly braid, you're hoping to get underneath. So I'll finish off with that, guys. So righto guys, so that's been a success. We've introduced a little fella to the cell system. He's been in here 24 hours now, so he hasn't been getting out. So it's a win-win. He can help us trample the ground and build the soil. So righto guys, you didn't see that, but one of the cows just chased the dog and run straight into the coal. So righto guys, we'll finish off at that. Have a great evening, a great afternoon, or a great morning wherever you're watching this from, guys, and we'll catch you later.